Our course title is Computer Graphics and Animation. Our course code is CTE 435. So this is Digital Differential Analyzer algorithm. It is based on calculation of values. So therefore, as we said earlier that m is equals to dy dx, so we are going to provide 1 under m so that we can balance this dy dx. So after we input 1, then we now cross multiply between dy dx and m divided by 1. Then we now have the outcomes of dy is equals to m dx, where the 1 is just empty, does not have any value. So we use 1 to balance it so that we can be able to have dy is equals to dx and m dx with the help of cross multiply. So let's take a look of the first equation, which we said that dy is equals to the m dx, which is the first equation. Then let's take a look of the second equation, where we are to use the x. So after we take out the x here, what will remain? Dy, right? Then we will now input our m into dy, since 1 does not have any value. That is how we come up with equation 2. Then dy is equals to m dx, as we said earlier as the first equation, while the x represented dy divided by m. So this is the equation. So shift vector, this shift vector is a process of using those formulas to interpret questions. This is just a formula. We have x1 is equals to x plus tx. Then we have y1 is equals to y plus ty. So write in terms of metrics. As they said earlier, they said that we should write those s1, y1, xy, dx, dy into matrix form. So let's take a look of the next write-up, which we have write in terms of matrix. So we are to convert our x1, y1 into matrix form. So this is how we convert x1, y1 into matrix form, which they have to be separate. As we can see, it has shells that close at the both side of s1, y1 equals to yx plus dx and dy. So this is known as matrix form. And we have PR is equals to P plus T. So the T represents the translating factor. So let's take a look of this example of shift vector. This is just a question and we are going to solve it. A triangle with the coordinate A, the coordinate of A represented as 2.2, while the coordinate of B represented as 10.2, then the coordinate of C is represented as 5.5. So translate the triangle with the x is equals to 5, then the y is equals to 6. So this is the solution. As we said earlier, that our formula is known as P is equals to P plus R. So we are going to transform it to the next level. So as our question said that we have a coordinate of A, right, which is known as 2, 2. So we are going to use A represent the formula of the coordinate of A. But before we proceed, we have to draw a diagram. This is our DDA line, which is differential data analyzer line, which is vertical and horizontal. After we have drawn those lines, then we have to provide a triangle. So our coordinate of A, which is represented as 2.2, should be located as the left hand side of the triangle. Then the coordinate of B, which represented 10 and 2, should be represented as a right hand of the triangle. Then the C, which represented 5.5, should be located at the middle side, which is the head of the triangle, should be represented as C, which we have 5, 5. So let's implement our formula here. We say that we are using coordinate of A, then we are to convert it to A is equals to A plus T. So since we say that we are using matrix form, so let's provide our coordinate of A. What do we have at the question? We have 2.2 represented the coordinate of A, so we are to represent 2.2 plus the x and the y are represented as 5 and 6, so we are to represent 5 and 6 here. So let's say that 2 plus 5 should be equals to 7, then 2 plus 6 is equals to 8. Automatically we have gotten our coordinate of A, which is equals to 7.8, right? Since the first one is 7, 2 plus 5, then 2 plus 6 is 8. So we have 7.8 coordinate of A. That is how we are going to do for coordinate of B. Our coordinate of B represented as 10 and 2, which we can see at the right hand side triangle, 10.2. Then we are to provide our the x and the y, which are represented as 5 and 6. Then we will now say that 10 plus 5 is equals to 15, then 2 plus 6 is equals to 8. So this is the coordinate of B. We have 15 and 8. So let's take a look of this diagram. For coordinate of C, we have 5, 5 plus 6, 5. So the 5, 5 represent the coordinate of C, which is 5 and 5. Then our the y and the x represent 6 and 5. So we have 5 plus 6, 10, then 5 plus 5, 11. So the coordinate of C represent 10 and 11. So as we said earlier, digital differential analyzer provide two lines which are known as y-axis line and x-axis line, which we place on this diagram. So it have to started from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. They are all represented in both y-axis and x-axis. So as we said earlier, our coordinate of A is represented as 7.8. So our 7 should be represented as x-axis. So we are to look at where in x-axis where 7 is located. Our 7 is located in between 6 and 8. So in our y-axis, 8 is represented directly. We are to draw a line so that they should be at a meeting point between 8 and 7. Then that was where we are to place our a-axis, which is known as 7 and 8. So we are to go to the coordinate of B. Our coordinate of B represented 15 and 8. So the 15 is placed as the x-axis, while the 8 is represented as the y-axis. It is placed as y-axis, the 8. So we are to draw the line in between 14 and 16. That is where we are to find our 15. After drawing the lines, so our coordinate of C is represented as 10 and 11. So the 10 is at the point of x-axis, then the 10 is at the point of y-axis, while the x is represented at the x-axis. So we are to find 11 in between 10 and 12 of x-axis. Then 10 is directly at the peak, so we are to draw the lines so that we can have a meeting point in between the x-axis and the y-axis. So that is how we are to provide a triangular shape with the help of matrix form. As we remember, the question said that a triangle with the coordinate 2 2, 10 2, 5 2. So we should translate the triangle with the y and the x, which we just translated, and we will be able to come up with a triangular shape. Computer graphics and animation, we have two-dimensional transformation, which is 2D transformation. Is change of an object after creation in terms of position and size. So you can be able to change the size of or position of the images that you just created with the help of two-dimensional. So those are types of transformation we have. Whether it is 2D or 3D transformation, the following are the types. So we are to just list the types of transformation. We have translation, scaling, rotating, reflection, and sharing. Animation is defined as the act of making something come alive. In animation, a series of images can change to illustration of movement from one place to another with the help of animation. As we can see those cartoons on the screen, once we implement animation on them, they will be able to move from one place to another. So advantages of DDA, which is known as Digital Differential Analyzer. It is a faster method when compared to direct use of line equations. This method does not use multiplication theorem. As we can see, the previous time we explained and we solved a triangular coordinate of ABC, and we also translate it with the help of the y and the x. We did not use any multiplication, we only use addition sign. So it allows users to dictate the change in value of x and y and plotting of same point, which we explained the previous time. So this method gives overflow points is repositioned. So it is an easy method because each step involves just two additions. So this is the disadvantage. If we recall, at the x-axis, it involves floating point additions around off is done. Examples 5.8. Once we set 5.8, we can be able to produce 6 or 7 in between this 5.8 and so on. So accumulation of round up errors. So rounding up operation and floating point operations consumes a lot of time. It is more suitable for generating line using the software, but it is less suitable for hardware implementations.